Guys, how are you doing? Okay, I'm gonna turn some of that light off. How are you doing? I'm good. I'm here to do my second part of working at Amazon. That was kind of weird. Wait a second. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. So where I left off was like the first day. Well, the orientation and the hiring process. Today I'm going to do day one of working, and if it's not running too long, maybe day two. Okay, so when I got there, we were supposed to meet. Security told us that told me that we were supposed to meet in the cafeteria because this is our first day. So it was 5 of us. We all met in the cafeteria. Then our trainer came in, and he's a really nice guy. He came in. He took us onto the floor. We had to clock in, of course, everything. He took us onto the floor and he took us to one of the stations that wasn't really being used. And we went over paperwork, or basically it was more like questions, like what should you do in this situation, and then we had like a question and answer, and we all had to answer questions and stuff like that. It wasn't like a test or anything, but he said it was a test, but it really wasn't. But yeah, and then after that we watched him box something and send it down the line. We did not get a chance to do that, but he did that. So then he showed us how to tape a box, because all the boxes didn't have to be taped, just some of them. So he showed us how to tape the box and cut the box open, and each of us had to do that twice. And he also showed us how to log into the computer. That was the extent of our training. It was probably like maybe 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours or something like that. And the most of that time basically, actually, was the paper stuff. Him reading off questions and scenarios, just giving us information. Just he had a notebook and he was just reading. So, all right. So I have my notes here. Let me see. All right. He showed us how the little buttons on the side of the station. It was like 3 or 4 of them, but I think we only used 2. One, Agnon or something like that it was called. You push that button. It was in case you need help. You push that button and one of the managers would come over and help you. Sometimes the water spiders, the guys who did the boxes, or just someone else that worked with you, maybe one of your colleagues, whatever, would come over and ask you how they could help you, whatever. So they took care of the problem. And the other one was to call the water spiders, basically meaning that you were out of boxes and they would come and bring you boxes. Now, I don't know how true this was. I think they all liked me because, I liked all of them and I was always nice and courteous. But according to one of them, I was told that if they didn't like you, then they take their time bringing your boxes. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that was just what was said. There were some times when I had to go get my own boxes because they had 1 or 2 that were working all of the areas, and I guess it was just not enough to get to everybody whenever they called, because sometimes the little lights would be going off and all at the same time. And they had several lines. I'm thinking like 1A, 1B, and then it was like 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they had some on the other side. So I think it was maybe let's just say 10 to be safe. And then each station, each line had about 6 or 7 little stations. So that's a lot if they're all filled up, which I've never seen them all filled up. But if they were all filled up and you only have two people bringing boxes to all these stations, so it could take a while. So sometimes I just go get my own boxes. All right, so Okay, so when you come in, when you go to your station, well, you don't go to your station, you come in, you go to the board. There's a board like right behind the manager's station, and it has everybody's name tag on it, or like a picture of everybody, whatever. Not really your name. Yeah, it's like your name tag. And your station assignment. So I think, see, I told you I should have done this early because I've forgotten. I don't remember if you take the card down or you turn it over or something to let them know that you're there. So that gives you your station where you're going to be for that day. So you go to your station. Well, before you even do that, they have a little meeting, like maybe 5 minutes meeting every morning, and then they have another one after lunch. But it basically tells you what the goal is for that day, and they do a little exercise segment, and then you go on to your station. So right out there where you're having the little meeting and stuff, they have these cages, and those are the cages are filled with the products that you have to pack. So you just grab one of those and take it back to wherever your station is, or there may be one at your station already. What I used to do, if my station wasn't in the front and I couldn't see it, I would always go back to wherever it was to see if there was one back there before I would go and get one. So when you're pulling the cages, they were huge, taller than me. I'm 5'11". So sometimes they would have it stacked all the way to the top, and sometimes it wasn't that much stacked up. But when it's really, really stacked to the top, you can't even see over it. So you have to see around it, look around it. And you weren't supposed to push it like this. You had to actually pull it. So you would pull it behind you. There were sometimes dog food and cat litter. We're talking about 40, 50-pound bags, and sometimes there would be like 5 or 6 bags of dog food and 5 or 6 boxes of cat litter on one cart. So if you're thinking about that, if you have 2, that's already 100 pounds. So you can imagine, let's say 500-600 pounds you're pulling. Yeah. Anyway, so one of the guys that worked there, he taught me a lot of stuff. He said you need to work smarter. You need to find the cages that work for you and stop getting those heavy cages. I was like, okay. So, yeah. So the cages that had all the bigger things on it and stuff, he was like, that's why they're still there, because people don't want to take them. I was like, gotcha. So I learned that. And then once you get the cage and you're pulling it behind you and you get into your little station, the stations that are closest to the end, which the last one on the end is close to the people that are actually, when the boxes go down the conveyor belt, they're the ones that get the boxes, do what they need to do to them, and then put them on the other conveyor belt to be sent out to the truck. So if you're in the last one, that's the biggest station. And I used to love to get that one. But the downfall about the last one is that sometimes you can't get your boxes on because all the people from the front, the one that's in the front has the best advantage because they get to put their boxes on regardless, because there's nothing stopping them from getting theirs on. But if you're in the middle to the end, boxes are coming down the line and you can't get your box on there. So they actually rotate after each break. You have to check the board to see if you're actually still in the same spot or you've been moved. Most of the time, if you, let's say you're in 1, they'll move you second break to 2, third break to 3, and so on like that. If you're at the end, they'll put you at the beginning. That way they're saying that it keeps it fair so that everybody can have a fair shot at getting their boxes onto the conveyor belt. And I'll tell you guys why that's important in a second in one of the other videos, if not this one. So, what else? So, once the meeting is over, you go to your station, like I said. You have to sign into the computer. You put your name in, your ID number, your employee number, whatever, and then you have to scan your cage. It basically tells you what to do. You scan your cage. It tells you everything that's supposed to be on that cage that's there. Sometimes items are not there. Sometimes it's more than one item. Like let's say it says you have 3 dog foods. You might have 4 or 5 dog foods. So in that case, you take the excess and you put it onto this other cage. I think it was called Mad Cat or something like that. And there was another cage also that you put it, not really cage, it was more like a little pallet thing. You put stuff there that wouldn't scan or something like that. All right, so what else? I talked about the water spiders. 1 second. Okay guys, I'm back. I forgot to tell you about the safety gear. We had to have the goggles, the gloves, and a safety vest. So yeah, but the goggles I found was kind of hard to, not really hard to see out of, but when I put them on, I just felt weird. I didn't like to wear those at all. So a lot of the times I just didn't wear them. But I would put them on the top of my head, and sometimes they'd send people around to monitor, and they'll write down that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, kind of thing. And yeah, so I noticed that the first week I was there, that this person would come around and say, oh well, you got a 10 out of 10 because you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. I guess it's like the way you're supposed to lift and all of the gear that you have, and just being safe. It was like a safety thing for the first week or two, and then after that they didn't do it anymore. So I guess it was probably for the new people. I'm thinking that's what that was for. So yeah, I didn't tell you guys about the locker. You didn't have to have a lock if you didn't want to, but I did, and it was about the size. Well, it was probably had just enough space for a wallet and a phone. It was very, very tiny. And I noticed there were some bigger ones there, but I'm assuming those were for the regular workers and the small ones were for the... Okay, I don't know where I left off, but I think that's probably enough information for right now because I don't remember where I left off. So I will come back next time and probably finish this up. If I can't finish it up in the next one, then I'll have one more after that, and that's it. So guys, thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, leave them down below because I can actually answer questions. I will answer questions. Do like a Q&A if you want to ask me something about working there. All right, then I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care. Be good. Try to be good. But if you can't be good at it.